Hello everybody and welcome back to Starmains. Just gonna yap about D&D some more, and this time it's gonna be pretty freaking new cause the Eberron Forge of the Artificer book just came out. I would have certainly had videos out way earlier today if I didn't have to work. You know, it's Thanksgiving kind of weekend. Or week, I mean. So, work's a little hectic. Anyway, I'm also streaming tonight, so I don't know if I'll have the time to get more than something quick done. So, what I've decided to do, and I'm definitely gonna have more coverage of this book, like the Artificer and all the feats and stuff, later in the week. But for today, I wanted to cover what the main thing I was most excited about anyway, which was the updated races/species, whichever one you want to use, really, from Eberron. The Warforged is great and all that stuff, so I was always curious on what to see what they were gonna do to them, because they didn't put them through any playtests. We didn't see any of the species in a playtest of some kind. That's why I'm like more curious on them, or I was more curious on them instead of the Artificer, because we saw the Artificer multiple times in Unearthed Arcana and playtest stuff. So I really wanted to know what they did to the species, and I was taking peeks at it during work today. So this is not a complete first reaction, nor are my other videos, because I did a good skim through to see everything. So I'd have like an idea of what comes to mind, and then while I record, whatever comes out of me is gonna come out of me. So without further ado, the first species we've got here is the Changeling, and I unironically adore how they framed this art here, with being able to see all the Changelings different, and even further back, all their different forms and stuff, all the different personas and personalities that they've taken on. It's really good. For anybody that doesn't know a lot about D&D stuff, a Changeling is kind of self-explanatory to what you think the word is. They are a type of fae who can change their shape to look like anybody they've seen, or come up with faces of themselves and stuff like that. So they are very adept at disguising themselves and whatnot. There's all types of folklore and whatnot too about changelings. So, and they gave them a little bit of sauce. Changeling has always been. I've seen a lot of changelings in my years of playing D&D ever since we got them in the Eberron book, and yeah, I've only played 5th edition. I'm actually not. I haven't played like 3rd or anything, so I'm sure maybe I don't know if they were playable back then. But in any case, for the Changeling's actual features, they are fae. So as I talked about in the Lorwyn Changeling, just a bit in the video the other day, that is kind of important because that prevents spells like Charm Person and Hold Person and stuff affecting you. Anything that specifically says you target a humanoid, any spell or effect cannot target you. You're not a game rules target for that spell because your creature type is fae instead of humanoid. You can choose what size you are. You get a speed of 30 feet. You get Changeling Instincts, thanks to your connection to the Fey realm. You have proficiency in 2 of the following skills. Any of the charisma skills and insight, I guess. You can choose 2 between deception, insight, intimidation, performance, or persuasion, which is always great to see a species with extra skill proficiencies. Always nice because it helps you be. It's just cool. It's nice. I like having skill proficiencies. But the big thing that they got was some changes to the shapeshifter. Mainly one big one here at the bottom here, but I'll get to that. Shapeshifter, it basically lets you change your appearance, your voice, your sex, your hair length, your skin color, what kind of species you look like. Like, you could look like an orc, or you can look like a tabaxi, and you can shift between medium and small for a pretty medium and small size. So you can, go from a Goliath down to a kobold or something. You can be whatever you want. And you can't duplicate the appearance of an individual you've never seen. You must adopt a new form that's basically arranged with lives you had. But it does not. The only downside here is that it does not change your clothes. So if you shift from medium to small, your clothes might not, and armor and stuff might not fit too well. But you can adjust your height. You can literally determine anything you've ever seen. You can duplicate people's appearances. You can come up with your own appearances. Changeling's shapeshifter ability has always been pretty freaking good for specifically that type of character, right? If you were already being like wanting to be kind of a sneak around and introduce yourself into society and stuff like that, sneak in and fake being like political dudes, or change yourself to be a guard and whatnot. Obviously you have to shift your clothes around, you have to change your clothes about, but to fully sell the thing, but it's always been good. And the thing that they have gotten, which is while shapeshifted with this trait, you have advantage on charisma checks, which I'm pretty sure just means if you are shapeshifted at all, which in my experience, anybody who plays a shapeshifter is not in their true changeling form almost ever. Almost never. They always want to have like their own. They always come up with their own stuff, their own guises. I've rarely ever been in a game with a changeling that wanted to stay in its changeling form and only uses the shape change thing for like stuff like that. They always, every single time, without fail. Maybe that's just my game experience, but they are always changed into something. Which means a changeling essentially permanently has advantage on all the charisma skills because they're charisma checks, right? And I'm back. We had to mute my phone. But yeah, that is essentially a changeling just gets advantage on intimidation, deception, performance, or persuasion all the time, forever. So if you play a rogue, or you play a bard, or a sorcerer, or a paladin, any kind of like charisma-based character that gives you good charisma, like you have on top of, especially like a bard or a rogue or something, right? Where you get expertises on top of that, you have expertise and advantage on all of them, all the time. That's pretty fucking good. That's pretty solid. That's pretty nice. And so, I mean, I personally, I think I've only played a changeling once, and then I had made them a bard. I think. I don't know. It's been I don't know if I feel like I've played a changeling once, but I don't remember that. It feels familiar, but I don't remember that character. But anyway, this new sauce here, advantage on pretty much all charisma checks while you're shape shifted, and again, I've never, ever seen a changeling in my experience of play, seen a changeling stay in its changeling form unless it wanted to shapeshift it for some kind of thing. They've always, sorry I'm repeating myself, but always have been in a shapeshifted form in my games. It's narratively interesting to discover that your friend was a changeling the whole time, and they can do. In fact, my game on freaking Monday, I play D&D every Monday in a long running campaign. We had a changeling. They're not a changeling anymore due to some weird story stuff, but we had a changeling, and he didn't reveal he was a changeling for like 7 sessions. until like it came up, and it only came up because we were in an area that was affecting Fae weirdly, right? And that's when his body was doing some weird shit, and we kept bugging him about it, and eventually he let loose and was like, "Oh, I'm a changeling," and that's why this area that we're in that messes with Fae specifically is doing some weird shit to me. So, like, again, changeling are basically gonna have almost never fail. Like, if you build for it, like a bard or something, especially a bard, where they already get things, or like an eloquence bard or something that already gets like minimum 9 on their stuff, plus so they'll have advantage, and then also fucking expertise. It's good. In any case, that's kind of enough for the changeling. I feel like that I've talked. Oh, sorry, I had something in my teeth. It was bothering me. I feel like I've said enough of how good that is, right? For a species ability, for a racial ability. I still remember when they called it race, and I mean the word race does have some bad stuff with it, but I don't think they really. I'm in the camp that I don't think they necessarily needed to change it to species, because like they could have called it ancestry or like lineage or something like that rather than species. In any case, moving on to the Kalashtar, and the Kalashtar kind of specific to Eberron. They are, you can see the burb here. They are, I'm not an expert on Eberron's lore, despite it's my favorite like campaign setting, because Eberron is just cool as hell. A lot of Pulp Fiction, like Arcana Tech trains and stuff like that. Eberron's amazing. But from what I understand, the Kalashtar are humans and that have a spirit, renegade spirits called the Quarry, kind of like attuned to them. So they're what Kalashtar look like humans for the most part, but as it says down here, like overly symmetrical, highly angular. Then their eyes often glow a lot when concentrating or expressing strong emotions. So they're basically like, I like to think of them again. If anybody's else like has more information on like the Eberron setting and stuff, feel free to leave a comment down below if you want to share what is more like a more detailed description of what the Kalashtar are, because I'm just going over stuff right now, the things off the top of my head. But in any case, also I always think of them as just like spirit touched people, like they're people in tuned with like spirits and but they're also weird psionic. They get these spirits give them psionic abilities, and we'll see in a moment they also have a weird fucking thing going on. They also have something real strange going on. So they're kind of I'll show you that right now. Their creature type is aberration. You know what else is their aberrations? Freaking mind flayers, freaking thing like eldritch beings from the far realm, all the Cthulhu shit, the like elder god crap in D&D. That those are all aberrations, like aboleths and shit. So on top of that, all the things I said about Fae for the changeling, having your creature type not as a humanoid makes you kind of immune to certain spells that require like you to only cast them on humanoids. So but because the Kalashtar's creature type is aberration, it lends me to think like the overly symmetrical angular theaters. If you wanted to play a Kalashtar outside of Eberron, like I would flavor it as like they are, I don't know, you could probably use the Kalashtar stats to have like to be like somebody partially undergoing ceremophrosis or something, like you know, like your character's a Baldur's Gate 3 where you have a mind flare tadpole or something in your brain. but it's not. It's being weird and not really transforming you into Mind Flayer, but it's definitely not doing nothing to you because of, the abilities you can get. So if you wanted to play a Kalashtar outside of Eberron, there are plenty of different ways to flavor it. I mean, they have this connection to spirits and stuff, but also they're in aberrations. You could just be like, they almost give me those what is it? The Mandela catalog, like the altars or the aberrations or aberrants or whatever. Even though it does say slightly symmetrical angular features, like these are people that have the creature type of aberration. So I feel like if you wanted to be kind of, especially if you weren't playing an Eberron, if you wanted to be like a fucked up human that's like part, like, I don't know, Mind Flayer or part creature, some random thing, like you some kind of altar or whatever, you could use the Kalashtar traits for that. And speaking of that, I already went over creature type as aberration. They have a speed of 30 feet. You have dual mind. You have advantage on wisdom and charisma saving throws. That's pretty fucking snazzy. Wisdom saving throws are one of the most common saving throws, just under, like, I don't know, dexterity. I mean, maybe wisdom's actually more common than dexterity, but like dexterity and wisdom saving throws are the two most common saving throws, like a lot. Like a lot of things will make you make a wisdom save or a dex save. Like any creature that has a fear effect, that's a wisdom save. Charisma saving throws are a little bit more rare. Those tend to be like banishments and stuff. But like just as like a species having advantage on these saving throws, on two different saving throws. Not bad at all for just a species trait. And on top of that, you have mental discipline. You get resistance to psychic damage, which is given. You get mind link, which is you have telepathy within a range of feet equal to 10 times your level. When you're using this trait to speak telepathically with a creature, you can give that creature the ability to telepathically speak back to you for an hour until you use another magic action to end this effect. Or I assume, I guess you could have this on multiple people at once, and you just be like a little psychic beacon. That's interesting. They also have severed from dreams. You can't meet the target of a dream spell. In addition, when you finish a long rest, you gain more proficiency in one skill of your choice. This proficiency lasts until you finish another long rest. So they essentially get another any skill proficiency that you want, and you can change it out every day if you'd like to. But features like that where you get to change like skill proficiencies out. I tend to honestly just end up treating it like just getting an extra skill proficiency, because to fit like my character and stuff, I don't really tend to change them out too often. But there was also a thing in the other Eberron books where whenever they sleep, they get to it's up here. Kalashtar can't commune directly with their quarry spirits. Rather, Kalashtar might experience the source of instinct or inspiration, drawing on the spirit's memories when the Kalashtar sleep. It's like the Kalashtar are weird and they're a little bit hard to explain, especially since they're so kind of specific to Eberron. But there are always ways to flavor everything outside of their settings, right? Always ways. But yeah, the Kalashtar are interesting. I don't know. I'm sure I may think of a character at some point that a Kalashtar would fit. Like maybe like a Psy Warrior or what was it, the Soul Knife, where those psychic subclasses. Especially since also in the UA in playtests we've gotten the Scion multiple times, so I think they're pretty set on giving us the Scion as a class next year. So maybe a Kalashtar would thematically fit that pretty well. That you might overlap on telepathy, but whatever. But I think that's all I've got to think on them. This art is fucking fantastic, by the way. All the art in this book is pretty great. I I very vehemently hope that no one finds that any of it is AI. I really do, because all the art is fantastic. Or at least I can't tell that it's AI. I can't tell that it's AI, which, I mean, with how kind of hard to tell it is these days, I'm just not sure. This art does have a weird art style, but like with all the the lines and stuff. But I think that's intentional. Yeah, I think it's intentional. I would hope so. Anyway, on to the Khoravar. I think they're called Khoravar. Yeah, the Khoravar, because they're named after Khoravar. So what the Khoravar are is when the rules got updated to 2024, Wizards of the Coast / the D&D designers, for some reason, decided to get rid of all of like the half orcs, half elves type species / races, and just be like, hey, you could be half whatever, elf and Goliath, half orc and elf, whatever you want. Just the rules are, just pick one of your races, one of your species, and those are the rules you got. Which in my mind is like, that's definitely a way you could have done it, but it would have been more interesting if like later in a supplement book they gave us like a whole table of like, if you were half this and this is how your features would intermingle, blah blah blah, stuff like that. Anyway, point being, the Khoravar are half elves, right? Sorry, they call themselves the Khoravar, in Elvish term meaning children of Khoravar. They dislike the term half elf. They're half elves. It literally says they're descended from both humans and elves that have developed their own communities and traditions in Khoravar, the rise and health, blah blah blah. And they are basically, we have the half elf back, sort of. It's like half elves if like they spent a few generations, and so now they're kind of like their own thing instead of being like, actually like your mom was a dad and your thing was an elf. Though I'm pretty sure that is also, they're half elves. They dislike the term half elf, but they're half elves, right? There are half elves. We've got them back. We've got the half elves with separate stats and abilities back, right? That's what the Khoravar are. So obviously you can use the Khoravar in pretty much any setting that has elves and humans, right? Because half elves are specifically humans, and these Khoravar are specifically humans and elves. But I'm sure you could flavor them as half whatever the hell you want as well. But anyway, onto their actual traits they are humanoids. You can choose all that crap. Speed is 30 feet. You get dark vision of 60 feet. You get Fey ancestry. You have advantage on saving throws to make or avoid the charm condition, just like elves do. You also get Fey gift, the friends cantrip. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace that cantrip with a different cantrip from the cleric, druid, or wizard spell list. Pick your mental stat that is your spellcasting modifier for it. That's a pretty solid feature. You just get a free cantrip from cleric, druid, or wizard. Like, I don't know why they bothered to just like throw the friends cantrip at you as the default, but yeah, I mean it's. I think they're going on with this idea that they like to they view themselves as being like a bridge between like a thing or whatever. You can read this if you like. You can pause the video and read this stuff if you like. But I'm just going over stuff. So I'm always down to get a free cantrip. I'm always down. Especially, yeah. If you get a free cantrip, you also could like pick a background that gives you like magic initiate for something. So that's always good. And then you get more free cantrips. But anyway, they also get lethargy resistance. When you fail a saving throw to end the unconscious condition, you can succeed instead. And once you use this trait, you can't do so again until you finish a 1d4 long rests. This would save you from a sleep spell. Because I think the Khoravar here don't get to trance. I don't remember if they have elves got the chance, but at least the Khoravar don't get to. They still have to sleep the full 8 hours, or at least be restful for a full 8 hours to get a long rest. So this will save you against the sleep spell, and I'm sure there are other effects in the game that will cause you the unconscious condition as well. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, you only get to use it once per 1d4 long rests, which is a little strange. They gave us the 1d4 like long rest thing again on something that doesn't seem to be too strong. I don't know how many things are causing the unconscious. Sorry, man, I can talk. I promise. I don't know how many things are causing the unconscious condition in the game anymore. I'm sure there are plenty now that I think about it. But anyway, they also get skill versatility. You get proficiency in one skill or tool of your choice, and then you can swap out on a long rest. So that's all good. That's all good and dandy. So good and dandy about the half elves. I'm kind of glad that they've got kind of their own stats again, their own stuff. I think just what they ended up doing for all the half and halves, to just like, you could be half whatever, but you just choose one of your species to be the traits that you have. It works just fine. It allows you to be like half orc, half Goliath, half orc, half tiefling, half orc, half ASMR type stuff. I don't know why I focused in on orcs there, but it is interesting that they did it. That allows for a lot more combinations. I just kind of wish, because you could theoretically combine everything with everything, so creating a lot of individual stat blocks for that would be, or like stat races for that would be very time consuming. So I understand why they did it, but I also think it's a little boring that sometimes they don't have their own traits. But anyway, on to the shifter. What shifters are is they're part werewolves slash lycanthropes, not just werewolves. Indeed, there are many types of lycanthropes. So, like, they got werebears, we got were-rats, we got were-ravens in D&D, right? If this is all kind of new D&D stuff to you, they are people who descend from werewolves, like werewolves having children with normal people and stuff, or lycans having children with normal people when they're not shifted and stuff, when that werewolf curse goes down and down and down, just generations after generations in like the setting of Eberron. It goes a few generations, and then eventually they kind of don't have like the lose control anymore, where like the lycanthropy curse has been diluted, the genes have been diluted in their blood for long enough that now they're just kind of cat girls. The shifter is the race you play if you want to play a cat girl, like any kind of human or humanoid with like animal ears and a tail and stuff like that. You can use the shifter for, if you'd like. And what I'm gonna probably end up fucking doing is, because the Wizard of the Coast, you madden me. You madden me. If anybody from Wizard of the Coast is watching this video, you madden me that we've had freaking a decade of 5th edition, and you've given me fucking 3 different bird races, 2 different cat races, the freaking centaur, minotaur, elephant people, hippo people, fucking the weird Handozi like flying monkey people from Spelljammer, and everything else, but we haven't got a fucking dog race. You haven't given me a single a canine race of any kind that I can use, at least officially. I trust me, I know there are billions of homebrew stuff, but like, come on, you're leaving money on the goddamn table, not giving us at least one dog race. Make him wolf people or something, or something, anything. Give me anything. You give us one dog race, and you'll give us all the dog races, right? Because we can use the dog race for a fox race, for a jackal race, for a coyote race, for like a house dog race. And I'm sorry I'm saying race instead of species, you know what I mean. I don't think it's like too big of a deal, but I apologize if it's I don't know. Anyway, what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna probably be using shifters to be my dog people for now, because you can kind of be any kind of mammal-ish thing, were-touched person, any of them that you want. And I just realized I think this I'll see him later. I might see him later when I go over the Artificer book. I swear I remember that I saw these clothes for like the artillerist. So was the I don't know. I'll figure. Anyway, for onto the Shifter's natural traits. They are humanoid. They get bestial they get speed of 30 feet, which I wish they got that extra 35, but whatever. They get bestial instincts, which you get a free extra proficiency of acrobatics, athletics, imitation, or survival. You can pick one of those. You get dark vision, and then their main thing is shifting. So the shifters, even though they are kind of like half lycanthrope all the time, sort of partially, they can shift with a bonus action. To kind of go even more on their to unleash more of their latent lycanthropy stuff. At least that's how it's usually flavored. More bestial, the bestial side. So they get to shift as a bonus action, and then they get to choose. They get to choose one of these when you make a shifter. You choose whether you're a beast tide, a long tooth, a swift stride, or a wild hunt shifter. And once you shift, you get temporary hit points equal to 2 times your proficiency bonus, and you also get one of these. So, and you also can use this as many times as equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest. So, and it lasts for a minute, which I could have used 10 minutes, but whatever. It's not that big a deal. Whenever you shift, okay, brain reset. Sorry, I was too many thoughts at once. So beast tide shifters gain a d6 intentional in addition to their temporary hit points, and they also get a +1 armor class. Always good, always applicable to pretty much any class, anything you would want to play. Getting a +1 to your AC is not bad. Barbarian good. Fighter good, wizard good, like having a better AC no matter what is good. If you're a long tooth shifter, whenever you shift whenever you shift and as a bonus action on other turns while shifted, you can use your fangs that you get as an unarmed strike, deals piercing damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength mod. And so you basically get a better unarmed strike if you're a long tooth shifter, and can also make that unarmed strike as a bonus action. Monks get to do that kind of already, but if you wanted to play on a kind of bestial unarmed fighter that wasn't a monk of some kind, like there's that fighting style for fighters and stuff. Oh, sorry, yawn attack. I swear. Why does reading make me so tired? I'm not even tired. I'm fucking excited as hell, but like it just, I don't know. Reading makes me, I don't know. Fuck. I got no answers for you. Anyway, you get unarmed strike as a bonus action, and you get the D6 instead of a D4 and all that stuff. Swift stride shifters get to increase their speed by 10 feet, and additionally you can move 10 feet as a reaction when a creature ends its turn within 5 feet of you, and this reactive move doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. So I mean, extra speed is always good. You can combine that with like other class features and stuff that give you extra speed, like if you I would probably pick swift stride if you wanted to be like a shifter monk or something. Just to like, even though monks already get a shit ton of movement speed, I would just compound on it more. Why not? Just be even more ludicrous with it. Or rogue. Swift stride also is one of those ones that kind of works for any thing. Long tooth not as much, because like I don't know if you want to really have this ability. If you're like a wizard or something, or even a druid. Or something, or a spellcaster of some kind. I'm not sure if you really want to care about making unarmed strikes as a bonus action, but Swift Stride, like Beast Tide, is one that like any character can do with some extra feet, extra movement speed. Not bad. Only takes a bonus action. Not every class, every character build uses their bonus action a ton, and you only have to use this once. But onto what I think is kind of the most interesting one. I don't know if it probably is Wild Hunt Shifter. Wild Shifter, you have advantage on wisdom checks, which I think that's like perception, survival, like medicine, all this stuff. I think those are wisdom checks. If I am wrong, correct me. I am a fool, as you guys can tell from my latest Ori playthrough and my dispatch like hacking minigame stuff. I am an idiot. Don't get me wrong, I may be a massive nerd who likes a lot of nerdy stuff, and I'm not completely stupid. I was really good at science in school, but I'm also a fool. I am a fool. I'm an idiot. Anyway, additionally, no creature within 30 feet of you can advantage on an attack roll against you unless you have the incapacitated condition. And that is pretty interesting, because the first thing that came to mind, right, is the barbarian. Now, I understand that, to go into rage, you need a bonus action. To shift, you need a bonus action. So you can't do these both at the same time unless you do one of them out of combat, which you could very much do with the You can very much do that with a barbarian, because now they updated it in the 2024 rules. They updated the rage to last 10 minutes instead of 1 minute. So you could rage as preemptively before you go into combat, and then when you're in combat for your first time, you can shift. So that brings me to is, if we do that, do I get to use reckless attack for free now with no recompense, as long as like I'm in the thick of it and such things, right? So no creature within 30 feet of you can have advantage on the attack roll against you unless you have the incapacitated condition. So that fucks over like Fairy Fire. Somebody casts Fairy Fire on you, I don't care. I'm a Wild Hunt Shifter. I got spider senses, motherfucker. I got beast senses. You cannot as long as you're within my range of hearing and smell and sight, you can I know what you're doing, right? You can't get advantage on me. So the first thing that comes to mind to me is a barbarian. So do I get to use? Then I get to use freaking reckless attack for free, not without any downside, right? At least if you're obviously it's within 30 feet of you, so ranged attacks and stuff will still have advantage on you outside of that 30 feet. But if I was a barbarian and I'm fighting monsters and stuff, it's always kind of a small thing with if I want to reckless attack, because I've got a shit ton of HP, right, as a barbarian, so, and getting advantage on all of my attacks is just generally worth it, and I have damage resistances and whatnot. But now, if you're a shifter and you go barbarian, any barbarian subclass, any barbarian, could you, it reads to me like that would work, and now you get to reckless attack for free. You can already do it free. It doesn't expend anything. You know what I mean. Whenever you reckless, for anybody that doesn't know what I mean, whenever you reckless attack as a barbarian, you can have all your attacks have advantage, but all attacks against you have advantage until your next turn. So, Wild Hunt makes me think that cancels that out. So, if I was a barbarian and I'm in the thick of it anyway, I can reckless attack all I goddamn want to, but my senses as a Wild Hunt Shifter are just that fucking cracked that fuck you, no you don't. I can attack as wildly and recklessly as I want to. And nobody can do a damn thing about it. Or other than, cast spells and shoot me with arrows and blah blah blah. But I think that's cool. That's a cool combo. Is it the most effective thing in the world because they both take a bonus action? The solution to that is just rage before you go into combat, because the last 10 minutes now, that's not unreasonable. If you don't know you're about to, like, if you get surprised, well, then that's whatever. Raging is definitely more important on turn 1 because of the damage resistances and stuff like that. But yeah, whatever. I like the shifter. I like the new shifter. I like what they did with all of these. I don't really see myself taking Longtooth very often. It would depend on the character. Like if I wanted to make some kind of like unarmed ranger or something, I might think about Longtooth. I might think about Longtooth, but not on most characters, because not on a spellcaster, probably not on a monk. They already get to do things like that. Probably not on a rogue, because I get cunning action, and also these unarmed attacks with my strength modifier. Maybe on a barbarian. Maybe on an unarmored barbarian, or unarmed barbarian if I'm making unarmed attacks and stuff. I wanted to make that kind of character, I might think about Longtooth. But as for Beast Hide, Swift Stride, and Wild Hunt, those are pretty solid. Those are pretty good. I really like Wild Hunt. I might have to make a Wild Hunt barbarian to have that, to be able to reckless attack without any cost of my of stuff. But whatever. On to the last, but certainly not the least, the Warforged. And if you don't know what a Warforged is, basically they're your robot race, or your golem, robot/golem race, or species, apologies. They're from Eberron, because Eberron has the thing in where you can even read their little lore blurb down here if you like. But the Warforged were created for the last war, and then whenever the last war happened, because they accidentally came across making people with full souls and personality and stuff, because they were originally, that unexpected breakthrough produced sentient beings made from wood and metal. They're completely sentient. They have free will. And so at the end of when the last war ended, Warforged were given rights and recognized as people and could go places. Right, that's their lore in Eberron. Outside of Eberron, you can kind of, the world is kind of your oyster. If you wanted to play a Warforged, you'd have to talk to your DM about it to be like, okay, well, who made you? What are you? Blah, blah, blah. But if your DM did it, here's some ideas though. If your DM, for whatever reason, doesn't want this robot, you can see what you can see. It doesn't whatever reason, doesn't want some like robot motherfucker, or like doesn't like artificers or tech and stuff in their world. You can reflavor the Warforged. You can here's some ideas. You can reflavor the Warforged, use its traits for like a golem, like a living golem of some kind, because that's kind of what they are anyway. You can flavor their looks and stuff to be more of like a living golem that somebody was able to give free will and stuff like that. I also think you could, if you wanted to be like a ghost in an armor, a ghost haunting its armor still, I think you could use the Warforged traits like that, though. Well, like, or something like that. You could use the Warforged like that as long as you like, I don't know, like you not a ghost in armor, but like animated armor that somehow has its free will. You could use it for something like that. Like I said, you can flavor is free, and you can reflavor anything. If you want to play in a Warforged in a campaign setting that doesn't really have a lot of tech and stuff, or would realistically somebody would have made a Warforged, talk to your DM. And if you really want to play that character and they're a cool DM, I'm sure they'll figure out a way for it, especially with like how you look and stuff like that. You can do that. Anyway, onto their actual traits. Warforged are constructs, so that also puts in mind things and such. Like I said earlier, with the Kalashtar and the Changeling, can't target certain spells with them. But being a construct, they actually get hit harder by certain spells. There are some spells in the game that affect constructs worse. There are certain spells in the games that can't affect constructs, but there are some spells and abilities that like specifically hit constructs harder, right? So something to think about. You're probably not going to come across them too often, but when you do, it's going to hurt. So Warforged are, you can determine their size. They have speed of 30 feet. They got construct resilience. You have resistance to poison damage. You also have advantage in saving throws to avoid or end the poison condition, because you can't really poison a robot too effectively. Though they're not completely robotic in Eberron. Even in Eberron, as you can read down here, they are made from like woods and and alchemists liquids and stuff to pump through their body. Like they're made out of wood and have root-like cords as like their muscle fibers and stuff like that. So that's why they can be poisoned at all and just aren't immune to poison. Is because they do have some biological. Their bodies in Eberron reflect biological life, so that you can still poison them. You can still introduce shit that's not great for their internals through poison and stuff. They just are like dwarves and stuff, way more resilient. They also have integrated protection, and they get a free +1 to their armor class. And any armor that you have donned cannot be removed against your will while you're alive, because you can't. Your Warforged body just kind of takes the armor in. It implements it into your body yourself. They also have Sentry's Rest. You don't need to sleep, and magic can't put you to sleep. When you can finish a long rest in 6 hours if you spend those hours in an inactive, motionless state. During this time, you appear inert but remain conscious. So you, no matter what, are kind of hearing and seeing everything around you. So you can kind of, forever be a lookout for your party at night, because you're gonna be awake anyway. You need to be motionless, but you can at least keep a lookout, and whatnot. They also have specialized design. You gain 1 skill proficiency and 1 tool proficiency of your choice. I kind of miss whenever they used to have like a tool built into their body, but I'm sure you can still do that through flavor and stuff like that. So not a big deal. In terms of, and then their last ability is Tireless. You do not gain exhaustion levels from dehydration, malnutrition, or suffocation, aka they don't need to breathe, they don't need to eat, they don't need to they don't need to breathe, they don't need to eat, they technically don't even need to sleep, they just need to be motionless, and they don't need to dehydrate, they don't need liquids, they don't need food, and they don't need to breathe. That is what's down here, which is cool in all stuff. Warforged are also always cool. They can work on pretty much any kind of character, wizard, barbarian, you always can have some cool options with a Warforged druid, where like all your animal form, like you're a transformer. It's pretty cool stuff, and you can make them whatever you want. Warforged are incredibly flexible, because their traits are good for just about anybody. Just like the B-side shifter I was talking about earlier, +1 to your armor class is good for everyone. Nobody's gonna complain with a +1 to your armor class. Oh, I think somebody started their laundry. But I mean that's kind of all for this video anyway. The Warforged are great. I love them. They're awesome. But yeah. I definitely will have more stuff on the. I will have more stuff going on soon. I'm going to be streaming tonight. When this video is posted, not too long after this video is posted, if I can get it posted in time before my streaming here in 2 hours. I need to edit it real quick, add some music, so it's not just me yapping, and then get it rendered, and then get it uploaded, blah blah blah. Put timestamps, the whole process. I'll probably have it uploaded today when the book releases, but I'll probably have a short too. Anyway. If you kind of like hearing me ramble and want to hear my thoughts on the Artificer and the feats and stuff that I'll be making videos on soon, then feel free to subscribe and like and share my stuff to people. I'd appreciate it. If you want to support me in any way, I've got my Discord server down below. I would love to have more people in my community just to talk to, and eventually when I play other games, it'd be interesting. I might snatch people from there. If you want to support me monetarily in any way, I've got my Ko-Fi that I'm gonna have linked below, just like my Discord server. And if you want to send me tips or sign up for my $1 a month little subscription thingy on Ko-Fi, because I don't think $1 is all I think I can provide people in entertainment for now. Maybe in the future when I have people to help me out, I will figure out more tiers maybe, but I think I'm just going to keep the $1 tier for a good while. In any case, if you want to support me monetarily without needing to exactly give me money, I would also appreciate if you throw me a follow on Twitch, because the recording of this video, I am not too far away from the follower account I would need for Twitch affiliate. So even if you throwing me a follow, even if you really can't catch my streams every Tuesday, would help me out a good bit. In any case, I'm excited. I'm gonna cover the Artificer. I'll probably have a video on the Artificer. I don't quite know tomorrow because I actually have to work fairly early in the morning, but I will definitely at least get it recorded tomorrow. We'll see, because I'll pretty much right after I stream, I'm probably gonna have to sleep to go in early for work. In any case, I hope you all have a lovely time zone, and goodbye.